You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, welcome to another awesome episode of Ask Drone U. My name is Paul.
And I am Rob, and this is episode number 446. As always, guys, we thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with us.
We absolutely do. We've got a killer question today, something that you guys have been talking about a lot. We spoke about it with the FAA yesterday on the podcast, but this question came in, so we thought we would just reiterate and really discuss this issue, which seems to be troubling a lot of people, but I think that there may be more solutions than we think. So
yeah, in the meantime, we're all going to have to just kind of work together and figure this out together, but it is definitely something that we had hoped would be cleared up with 107, but it now is turning out to be kind of a gray area.
Well, yeah, and I think also if you worked with your local FAA office, with your local ATC, I think you can actually you can get not around, but you can kind of circumvent the problem.
Absolutely.
So it may not be what you think, but you can create something. So,
hello, guys. Thank you for all that you do for us out here. I am happy to report that I did pass my 107 the first try. Got an 87, I think it was, and I have to give credit to the training materials and information that I was able to extract from Drone U. Never got a chance to go to the live training. That would have been even better. However, what I did was go through all the material available online at Drone U, and hey, the results were good. Now that I'm ready, I have received my temporary certificate, still waiting for the permanent certificate. However, I did get 3 jobs for real estate videos, and based off of what I understood, I contacted the airport authority, notified them, contacted the air traffic control tower that these 3 houses were within their Class D airspace, and asked permission to fly the operation. And very friendly air traffic controller, he says, well, our instructions are to advise that you're to contact the FAA.gov/UAS and then fill out a request for airspace clearance. Not necessarily a waiver, but he said just for requesting to fly an operation.
So, Tom, thank you for the question, and congrats on getting 3 jobs right off the bat. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is
Good for
really
you.
cool. You know what? I love to see what our members are doing. And the fact that he's passed is just awesome. I mean, he said, that if I would have gone to the one-on-one, or not the one-on-one class, but the in-person class, it would have been even better. But, this material by itself was great. So if you guys are thinking about, getting that certificate, you want that nice little green federal license in your wallet. I love having that thing in my wallet.
It's pretty cool. Makes me want one.
Well, you're going to have to work for it, Rob.
Well, all right.
You're just going to have to go to one of those classes just like everyone else. So if you're like Rob and you need to get your certificate, go to droneulive.com. Just had to plug that really fast. But let's talk about airspace. This is a big deal. People are frustrated, right? Because they call the tower, they're requesting permission. The tower has been given guidance to say, look, you got to go through the portal. The portal isn't quite working to the speed and efficiency that we would like to see it.
Well, and I think one of the things that the FAA could do with the portal is to simply set up some emails that go out like, look, we received your request.
Are you saying that the FAA needs Infusionsoft?
Perhaps, otherwise known as Confusionsoft, but that's another matter. Some sort of system, just to let people know, because we've heard from a lot of members that have said, fine, we're going to use the portal, that's what we're supposed to do, but it's been X number of days or so long, and I've not heard a word. I think if there was just communication, that would go a long ways.
Well,
but that said,
I actually had a meeting with my local FSDO office today. It was a little bit different than what I was expecting. I was expecting to go in there, talk to the main principal inspector, get things cleared up. Hey, I want to try and get, some sort of COA or some sort of open line of communication where I can, get approval faster. And pretty much what he told me is, once you put it through the portal right away, email me and I will help you get that through faster. I don't know. I got to try that. I haven't done it yet.
Well, I think the lesson there is because, Paul, people are going to hear that and they're going to say, yeah, but that's you, Paul, and you know these guys. But the point is you guys can go talk to the local guys as well and
I
get
think
to know the people in your area.
Yeah, and I think that's also, I can understand the perception where you're coming from, but it's also not true. I've been very elusive with the FAA, the local FAA at least.
Well, yes.
Well, kind of.
But
not,
the point
not
is...
anymore.
No. But the point is you've also reached out recently and really sort of tried to make a connection with the FAA and gone about it the right way. But everybody else can do that as well.
Yes, they absolutely can. Now, one of the things that I had talked to Kevin Morris of the FAA on yesterday's podcast was, what if you circumvent the portal itself? What if you call the tower, you're trying to get permission. He says, well, they've been given guidance to not do that. He could technically give you permission to fly.
Right.
We're telling them not to do that, but he could do that, but he's sticking his neck out there for you. And if there was a problem with your flight that caused an inspection, his feet could be held to the fire. And
we don't even know what that would look like yet and how real that is and what would happen to this person, because he's not done anything wrong per se, right?
Well, per se, I mean, the guidance they've given him guidance to say, don't do this. But I wanted to know, legally speaking, because in 14 CFR 107, it doesn't say how you get airspace authorization. We know of a few people who have gone this route, have gone the circumvention route.
And that word almost gives it a negative connotation, when in reality, you're just kind of going through a different channel.
And I think the reason that the portal is taking so long, Rob, just to kind of put myself in the FAA shoes, is that there are so many requests per day. There are thousands of requests per day. Kevin said it. They don't have the manpower to go through all of those. If they did, they would probably be ignoring all of their other, things that they have to get done, their tasks, excuse me.
Sure.
The fact is that they just simply can't handle it. But the good news is they know that. They've admitted to it. They're trying to do something about it. They're trying to come up with an app where we're going to be able to get instantaneous permission, which I think is great. Now, yesterday in the podcast, again, with Kevin Morris, he'd kind of given some rules of thumb to help you try to obtain quicker permission to fly. He talks about Delta airspace, Echo airspace, and he says, 2 to 3 miles out, you can expect to go up to this height. 3 to 4 miles out, you can expect to go up to this height. And I think that's great. But I think the alternative that you have is you've got to create that relationship with local FSDO.
Right. And by the way, again, we hear from a lot of members with regards to these issues, and they're having success with that.
They are having success with it. So you're going to go to local FSDO. They're going to tell you the same thing, go through the portal. And they may say, I'll try to help you out. We want to help you, which is what the FAA just told me. I mean,
and they do.
Wow, that was a roller coaster meeting, Rob. But they really do want to help. And that being said, if you create that relationship, you go through the portal and you say, hey, I filled this out really quick. I know it's not 90 days, but I don't think that's realistic. It's, in a couple weeks. They understand that and they're willing to help you out. So I think that is one alternative. The other alternative is, going direct to ATC. And I mean, he had already talked to ATC and you come back to him and say, look, I know the guidance tells you not to do this, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to get these through in time, and I don't want to miss out on the opportunity. Yeah. If I were in his shoes, I would go to local FSDO first, put them through I would have already put them through the portal, make an appointment with local FSDO, try to get that approval ASAP so you can go out and fly those jobs, because they are willing and going to help you.
Yeah, and those jobs are time sensitive, obviously, and I think part of the process here in those conversations is simply education, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way at all, but a lot of folks who've been working in governmental entities for a long time, they're just used to sort of a lot more time being allowed for something to be accomplished. When the reality is in the private sector, somebody might have let's say you're working with a realtor, somebody puts a listing up, they're calling you Thursday evening and they want you there Friday morning. And that's the reality of the private sector and kind of the just the economy that we work in. And so educating them on that respectfully and helping them know why the portal is making it almost impossible in many cases to get work done, I think they're going to want to help.
Yeah, I think so too.
I really do.
And I will just say how encouraged I am with the meeting that I just had. And I was probably coming from a place of not having a very good relationship with them to having a good relationship. And I think it says a lot when you're going in there. And remember, you've got to use like psychological terminology. You have to be really careful what you say and how you say it. And it's like, it's like this, right? If I go to the airport and I need your help to get an upgrade so that I can make my next flight, my transfer flight, right? And I say, you know what, Rob, I need this done right now because if I don't make my transfer flight, I'm screwed. My whole day is gone and everything is just going to suck, The person is going to probably react kind of like, well, why should I help you? It's kind of like why are you coming at me so strong? Kind of like, it's like that fight or flight initial, like,
especially when that's what the masses are doing.
Exactly. Yes. And it's a very narcissistic approach. It doesn't work. But when you say, Rob, I've got this transfer on this next flight and I don't really have that much time in between. And I'm wondering if you can help me out. I'm wondering if maybe there's something I can do to help you in making this happen. But is there any way, you can help me out? Mm-hmm. I think, my mom, that old saying, you get more bees with honey. Mm-hmm. It's true, but the honey has to be sweetened just the right way.
Wow, that's deep. No, I think that's true. And one of the other ways or something else to sort of inject into that is humor.
True.
Anytime that you can make that other person laugh, that's going to go a long ways. I will say, in response to what you've just said, you do have to have a sincere attitude towards the approach that you're talking, because
you have to be genuine.
You have to be genuine, and one of the primary reasons for that is you may not get the answer you want.
Nope.
Even though you've been nice, even though you've made them laugh, there may be some reason they just can't do it.
I think the better way to say that is have zero expectations going into it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to say it. Because if you're really nice and then all of a sudden you blow up because you didn't get what you want, well, it was all for naught and you're really a jerk.
Confucius say those who get the most bent out of shape, least flexible.
Wow. A lot of deep sayings from you today, Paul.
Still waters run deep, Rob.
Anyways.
You don't get that? Like, you never heard that still waters run deep? Like, if you're in a big channel or a big bay, you notice where the still water is?
Those are the deep holes, yeah.
That's right.
Yep. I'm with you.
It's got that nice... Anyway.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us today. If you have a question, go to askdroneyou.com. We've mentioned these alternatives. Maybe you're interested in making that app for the FAA. Reach out to the FAA. They are going to put an RFP out through the normal government contracting system. If you want to write that app, go after it. Do it. What's stopping you?
And by the way, if you have stories of how you've approached this that have been effective or maybe even ineffective that you think the community could learn from, we'd love to hear those.
Yeah.
You can call them in. We'll play them on the air. If they're going to help other people, you can go to our Facebook page.
Yeah. But to summarize this whole thing, because I'm just sitting here, I don't want this to end like a Planet Money, like here's this conundrum, this problem we have, and then we just end the podcast. Like, I think, the portal is definitely the way to go, but there are alternatives if you're in dire need of getting a job. And the FAA doesn't want to get in the way of you making money or commerce. It helps out everyone at the end of the day.
True.
Especially the U.S. government, because they make tax. I just had to pay taxes. Whoa. Oh, man. I'm worried about next year.
Paul always going up to that last deadline.
Anyway, I'm just saying, I think there are alternatives. How you approach it is definitely going to be key. It's so, so, so important. But anyway, on that bombshell, Rob, that's going to do it for us today. My name is Paul.
And I'm Rob.
This is Ask Drone You.